Tony, who is next?
Actually, I wanted to go with one of our backlog questions first before we get into the next person in the lobby.
Okay.
Because it's pretty interesting. So Tiger Shark had submitted a question that is basically, what is your opinion or take on possibly Khadgar's death, or him being killed in some fashion, or just dying of old age? Because there's that dialogue between him and Jaina when he popped up in Shadowlands. And then the part that was interesting to me is that Tiger Shark was implying that somebody would replace him as the Guardian, and I believe that he's just misunderstood because there is no Guardian anymore. Like, that was the whole point of Khadgar's character progression.
Yeah.
Even though he is sort of a pseudo-Guardian, if you will, because he was trained by Medivh.
Yeah. Khadgar never accepted the role of Guardian, nor would he. Now, so first and foremost, I don't see the need for Khadgar's death. Khadgar is a nice character in World of Warcraft because he's one of those, oh shit, we want to do something with the story, bring in Khadgar, right? Whenever you don't know how you want to progress the story, Khadgar is a really nice character. Why? Because Khadgar has access and control of Karazhan. Karazhan is the biggest library on Azeroth, possibly the biggest library in the Great Beyond. It's a library that contains information on literally almost everything. Why? Because Karazhan sits between the Twisting Nether and the Great Beyond, and there is just so much information that Medivh and those that preceded him have gathered from by using the Twisting Nether, using the information that the Twisting Nether has access to, and recording all of that. So any problem that you're faced with where you go, okay, what character are we going to bring in? It's like, never mind, we'll just get Khadgar, because Khadgar would know. This is why, the sword problem, when we had the giant sword, we don't have the sword anymore. That sword no longer exists. But when we had a giant sword that stuck into Azeroth, it was Khadgar that actually came up with some advice as to how the sword could be dealt with. So I don't see a need to kill off Khadgar. That being said, there's sort of there's a weird argument, I suppose, to be made of, like, the possibility of Khadgar's death. Medivh, for example, isn't dead because Medivh's soul is tied to Karazhan. Now, is there a possibility that Khadgar did the exact same thing? That he tied himself to Karazhan as well? Which means even if he does die, his soul would just remain in Karazhan.
Yeah, I mean, when they redid the Karazhan raid as a dungeon, he spends who knows how long with Medivh in basically the pocket in between that is Karazhan, so who knows if he didn't do the same thing.
That's exactly, so I would argue he would have. Why wouldn't you, right? It is that protection against death, because no matter what happens, you're tied to Karazhan, and there's literally nothing that can be done to Karazhan. The destruction of Karazhan would be catastrophic, because Karazhan is literally the thing that stops the Twisting Nether from just erupting and bleeding into Azeroth, but at the same time it stops the Great Beyond from bleeding into the Twisting Nether. So it is the sort of plug, right, that keeps everything going. If Karazhan is ever destroyed, it would be just the end of fucking days. So tie your soul to the fucking strongest thing in the universe and you'd be good. I think Khadgar's story is about to get really interesting, though, because we know that Khadgar was around in Shadowlands. We saw Khadgar's Raven, right? Khadgar have spent a long time now behind the scenes gathering information and looking for things. The last time we actually spoke to Khadgar, if I'm not mistaken, I may have missed something here, but I'm pretty sure, was with the sword, where he told us he needs to go. There's something he needs to look up or research, and then he was gone. And we haven't heard from him again. This is when he gave us the piece of paper to take to Magni. And that was it. That was the final time, I believe, we saw Khadgar. What did he have to go look up? What was he searching for? What was he looking for? That's still a storyline waiting to happen. So I don't think Medivh's death was different. Medivh kind of had to die. It goes back to sort of power rankings and power scaling. When you have a character like Medivh on that power level, it's very difficult to deal with that character. This is, by the way, one of the reasons I believe that they're going to kill Malfurion. They're killing Malfurion because they don't know what the fuck to do with him. That's literally it. They do not know what to do with Malfurion. This is why Madonna was written out of the lore. For those of you that don't know, Madonna is basically the let's just say he's the delete button to every problem that World of Warcraft could ever have faced. And because of his power level, Blizzard was like, nope, never mind. We're not even writing him into the fucking story to begin with. Because, I mean, any problem we could ever have faced, just call Madonna, he's going to sort it out, no problems. He's like the shotgun of the gun families, right? So Blizzard didn't deal with that. They just wrote it out. Medivh, very similar. Also incredibly powerful in the lore. How do you have a character like that? Because that character could physically stop any other problems that could possibly arise. Khadgar isn't on that level of power. Khadgar is powerful, don't get me wrong, but not that powerful. They have written Khadgar to be a little bit more fallible than Medivh or Madonna, most certainly. Malfurion is the final sort of super overpowered character that Blizzard clearly doesn't know what to do with. Because, guys, I'm not exaggerating when I say that Malfurion has been done so dirty in World of Warcraft for such a long time.
He really has been getting the shaft, especially, I mean, instead of in the Emerald Nightmare raid that we had, instead of Xavius focusing on him, which I would have expected because Malfurion created basically the Nightmare Lord. I know that Xavius made that deal with N'Zoth to get that power, but he was put in the dream as a prisoner by Malfurion. So I would have thought that he would have had the biggest revenge reason for going after Malfurion, and instead he targets Ysera. I realize she's the guardian and ruler of the Emerald Dream, but the character of Xavius was very much written as a very petty person. He would not have let that grudge go just to do the greater plot. He
would have killed Malfurion almost certainly.
Yeah, he would have pursued his personal vengeance, and if he happened to achieve what his boss wanted, hooray.
But here's the thing. So that is the first time, well, not the first time, but that is one time that Blizzard disrespected Malfurion. If you think Xavius stood even a chance of capturing Malfurion, you have not been paying attention. Malfurion could kill Xavius with a thought. That's how powerful Malfurion is. If we're talking real power. You guys remember the fight between Sylvanas and Malfurion? Malfurion should have ended that fight in seconds. People don't seem to understand. Azeroth itself, literally the planet, all of nature, answers to Malfurion. All of nature. Malfurion is literally the only person that can let Azeroth open below you and just swallow you. And that's it. It's fucking done. It's over. Congratulations, you're now in the planet, no longer on it. Like, there is no limit to Malfurion's power. He is the most powerful druid that has ever lived. And yet, time and time again, Blizzard find these sort of weird loopholes. You know, like he's in a battle with Sylvanas, he is winning, but then Sourfang sort of jumps in, fucking, you know, lays him low with a cheap blow. Which technically also shouldn't be happening because, again, nature speaks to Malfurion. If Sourfang comes from behind, nature would have already warned Malfurion that, hey, behind you, there's a guy that wants to do something, and Malfurion would just go, nope, never mind, you're entangled now, let's continue. Because that is the power level of Malfurion. So, he's too powerful. And as cool as that would be to see in a cinematic, Malfurion just fucking killing everything, obviously Blizzard can't do that. So killing him is the only real way to solve the issue of Malfurion. And this way, they're doing it, he's sacrificing himself. He's giving his own life and he's saying, look, I will die so that Ysera can live. That way, Blizzard doesn't have to further deal with that issue. The same goes for Medivh. Khadgar, once again, doesn't have that issue because Khadgar is powerful, but nowhere near that power level. I think Blizzard would be stupid if they got rid of Khadgar. I'll say that. I mean, I can't answer, or I can't comment on if Blizzard will kill Khadgar. Blizzard have done weird things in the past, so it is certainly possible. I would say that's a stupid thing to do because you're literally sacrificing one of your best plot devices for what? For a cool short-term storyline? Because that's all it would be. If you killed Khadgar, yes, probably an amazing cinematic and likely a really fun quest chain. But then what? All future storylines now becomes infinitely harder because you've killed off the one character that you could sort of plug anywhere and it would just work. So yeah, to answer that question, I don't see Khadgar dying anytime soon. He's like one of those mainstay characters. He just has to be there. Otherwise, World of Warcraft would not be World of Warcraft.